like, okay, we're going to party with you guys, and woohoo, you're all right.
I cannot watch this show without my sunglasses.
Welcome to The Right Advice. I'm Randy.
And I'm Amber. And today we're going to be reviewing some of the comments that have been left on our Willow Series review videos. Randy, you want to go first?
I will. So I'm going to start with one by Fancy Pants Pikachu, and which says, I think that probably the most evil part of the whole woke culture is they don't accept the concept of redemption. And I don't want to get into woke, not woke, because that's not the purpose of our channel and the videos that we do. We want to discuss story and whether stories, good and bad elements of the story, so that you can avoid the bad elements and stick to the good elements. And Fancy Pants really hit the nail on that, because good stories are based on values and truth. So those are salvation, sacrifice, and what was this one? Redemption, right? We love stories generally as a people, as the human race, where people find a way to redeem actions they've taken that they regret. And if you cannot include that, then stories tend to feel kind of hollow and not serious, kind of meaningless, right? Those, even comedies, a good comedy has those elements in it.
I agree. I think that there are some issues also with trying to say that even doing very terrible things, there are relatable things that we can forgive them for. I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but I'm thinking of the trolls. The Bone Reavers. So the Bone Reavers, we know, have killed one of their friends, one of the main fellowship's friends, and yet now we're sympathizing with them. Why? Well, because they've had a difficult past. But that shouldn't excuse their behavior in the present. All we have seen of the Bone Reavers in this show is that they've been killing people, and now suddenly they're good guys that we're supposed to sympathize with. I really haven't even seen them do anything especially good, except have a party.
So we've definitely had a lot of comments about the Bone Reavers, and then all of a sudden they're friends, and they're likable, and they're good guys and everything. But what we haven't seen is, if you watch the original movie, we haven't seen a redemption path to where we can go like, okay, we can forgive them for what they did in the past, or, maybe not forgive me, that's not the right word, but we can accept what they did in the past because they've gone through a process, and we can see that they're not wholly evil at heart or whatever.
Yeah.
And then without that, it just seems cheap, right? You just give that to them like, okay, we're going to party with you guys, and woohoo, you're all right.
We want it to be earned. We want to see that they earned it. And you don't earn it just by having a tragic past. I'm sorry, that's not the way.
And handing out truth plums.
Yeah.
Narcotics.
Truth plums, my goodness. And so Pikachu, what was the name again? It was
Fancy Pants
Pikachu. Someone was talking about how the cringe is strong. I think I know what you're referring to, and I just have to say, the cringe is this strong. I cannot watch this show without my sunglasses. Maximum UV protection.
Okay.
So Randy, did you have anything else from Pikachu, or?
I do. Pikachu also talked about the show sure ain't gonna get a second season. People take cult classics seriously.
Mm-hmm.
We're all zealots. And that's such an excellent point. And that being Willow, I mean, that is a cult favorite, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a classic fantasy. And if you're going to pull that name, really you should be expecting to pull in those fans, because they love the old one. They're going to want to see if you can recapture that magic and do that. If you are wanting this for a younger audience who doesn't know about it, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, you should just maybe start with a brand new IP, or a newer IP that they kind of have some sort of sense of, they've heard that story or they've heard about that story. Don't pick up something that was done before they were born. And then, because then you just upset the fan base. And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Is people who are fans of the original Willow, they're like, oh my gosh, this is nothing like Willow. It just kind of smashes it into the ground and disrespects the original property. And that's what you're going to get. And so a really horrible mistake on the marketing team for this project.
Yeah, and another commenter, Eric L., said that this seems to have been made for kids who didn't even know about the movie, but I would argue that it doesn't even seem to be made for them because we're seeing such poor writing. So then I tried to think to myself, who was this made for? Was this made for somebody in particular? And you keep hearing it. It seems the TickTock generation is
TickTock
who this was
Generation.
aimed at. And it clicked in my head earlier today. If you were to watch this series in 5-minute segments, a lot of it makes sense. This is why they have to tell you how they feel and what's going on, because you can never slowly build up to something. You've only got this audience's attention for about 5 minutes, so you better very quickly let them know how the character feels, what the drama is, and if it's something that's long and lingering. For instance, Kit being in the tomb, we had to have the urgency of she has to get out of there fast, because her just being faced with the possibility of her father is on the other side of this door and has been there trapped for the last 10 years wouldn't make sense to people who aren't really paying attention to what's going on in the rest of the show. It also explains why you have things being set up at the beginning of an episode and then not paying out later on or being completely countered. I think Disparu commented in one of his videos, it was actually that review of episode 6, that Elora Danan has the wand taken from her by Willow and then immediately gets kidnapped. Willow gets kidnapped, but he doesn't have the wand now. Elora's got it again. When did the switch happen? It magically, and he took it from her, angry that she had it in the first place. So I doubt that he gave it back to her. And if she stole it again, when did that happen? So you're seeing such inconsistency that I can only think that this was meant to be consumed by people who have an attention span of about 5 minutes. And that's what the writers were thinking as they composed this.
Absolutely. I mean, so many of the things that I am finding fault with this series seem to be explained by we are posting this for the TickTock generation, for a generation that only looks at a minute at a time or 5 minutes at a time. So that's why they can appreciate jokes at inappropriate time, because they're just focused on that 30 seconds where they tell the joke, and they're not considering before and after and all of that. So yeah, right. And then the inconsistencies, they don't have to be consistent. All they have to do is focus on the moment. And as long as within that one moment, that 1 minute, that 2 minutes, it doesn't contradict itself, they're okay. Right. So
although we have seen that happen too.
We've seen that happen, yeah.
I remember the second episode with Willow saying, she's as much mine as she is yours. Well, I've had it and you'll never see me again. You guys, I don't care what happens to both of you. In the same line. Anyway, it's silly. Do we want to move on to another comment?
Sure.
Go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to Geeky Old Hog. So that's his handle. I'm just not making fun of him.
Are you in England, by the way?
He is.
He is in England
So
somewhere?
he has a channel. Before I go into his comment, he has a channel and he has been doing reviews, and I really love his reviews. I'm going to have Amber put a link to his
somewhere,
website.
Probably
so you can follow that, and he has just a really nice, warm, kind of cozy podcast, right? So it's very, very friendly, right? Very
He's getting a good laugh
way.
Out of this show for sure.
It's kind of, to me, it's like sitting down with one of my friends and just having a good old conversation about the show, right? So maybe you'll find that too. So I'm just going to call him Old Hog. He said, okay, guys, I'm glad someone else is questioning the age of the creative team. And by the way, I'm enjoying every minute of this ridiculous assembly of random scenes and quips.
Doesn't that kind of support what we were just talking about?
It does, right? But he's just enjoying it. He's kicking back and just like, okay, let's see it. Okay, that was amusing. So maybe he is ahead of the curve on us, and he realizes this is TickTock generation, and I'm just going to look at it at 2-minute segments at a time and not try to compare the whole series or even to the movie, and maybe that's the trick to really enjoying the show.
It might be. I think we had a couple of commenters also saying that they're just going to kick back with a beer and hopefully that makes it more enjoyable. All I can say is trying to analyze this, trying to critique it is exhausting. It is truly exhausting watching this show and paying attention to everything that's happening because so little of it makes sense. Okay, I had so I didn't actually copy down exactly what they were, what the commenters said, but I have reactions to things that they brought up. So
Okay.
we've had a few suggestions for other shows that we should review. And I would really like to get more opinions on this because we've been discussing what should be next after Willow, and we're willing to start right away if there's something out there. Riddy Roast and Clown Tings and Arc Light have all suggested things like House of the Dragon, Lord of the Rings, and I think actually meant Rings of Power because it's hard.
You think so?
Yeah, there's a lot of critiques on Lord of the Rings. I think that if we were to do one, it would be overdone. Honestly, I think there's lots of critiques on Rings of Power, but maybe we can bring something to it as well. The Last of Us is something we're definitely looking into. Very interested. I heard that the producer for Chernobyl is doing The Last of Us, so it looks like it'll be pretty good. Then there was also, I would like to do the live action Avatar The Last Airbender if it ever gets released. It's been in the works for a really long time. There's a lot of potential for it being a very good show, but because it is, again, something being aimed towards young people, it might get the same treatment as Willow, where we see some really crummy writing put into it, which would be just a tragedy.
And this wasn't suggested, but National Treasure. So that just is fairly recent. I think it's only on its second episode, maybe. So that's something that we could be catching on early in the series and be commenting on.
We're interested in fantasy, science fiction, adventure. So those are the three that we're looking at right now, and I'm sure we'll dive into other stuff as well. But those are the three genres that we're the most interested in at the moment. So, any suggestions, please in the comments, let us know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jesse Johnson has put forth a good theory that the girl at the very end is the Crone. So remember the girl
episode
with Eric?
6, right?
In episode 6, the girl at the end is the Crone. I think that's got to be right. I mean, what is unless so it could be the Crone, and the Crone is going to tempt Eric, but he's supposedly in love with Elora Danan, right? But this would be part of his turning evil. The other possibility is that the Immemorial City is a place where people from other worlds have been transported to, and that this is another victim as well. I mean, I doubt that. I have a feeling they're setting it up for this is the Crone, but
I don't know. They have not been good about setting stuff up and following through.
This is true. So, it really could be anybody.
It could be anybody. I mean, but it's a good theory.
It could be Mad Mardigan being reborn. It's
reincarnated. Woo, he's a sexy girl now. So, yeah, it's hard to say because in this series, they're just not following the normal rules of storytelling, and that makes it hard to guess who that person might be. It could just be anyone. So
yeah, at this point.
So, but it's good. Who did you say did that?
That was Jesse Johnson.
Jesse, that's a great observation and a great guess.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if that comes about.
Or you got another one on your list?
Maybe. Let me take a look real quick. Okay, Josh Ritterhoff was talking about that he was in the middle of watching one of our videos, and something we said right at the beginning and is spot on, and is part of his frustration with watching the series so far. And it's that this show does have some good moments. Mm-hmm. It does. It has some very well done, entertaining moments that hook you, and then immediately that is interrupted, that is destroyed. Any mood is destroyed because they throw in some quip, some comment that seems so modern. It seems so out of place in this kind of a story, and that it really just ruins the show. And it kind of feels like they've got two teams working together. You know, maybe a more established writing team who knows what they're doing, and that's where we're getting these moments of excellent work. And then we get these moments that interrupt that excellent work, and that somehow there's like these two teams, you know.
And that they don't seem to be in the same room together.
Right.
That I think is a big problem. I think that a script typically goes through several cycles of editing before it even makes it onto the set. And it feels like it's going through two cycles, maybe in this case with this observation, that somebody writes it, somebody makes changes that they want made, and then it immediately gets sent to the director. And that's not the way to go about it, because if something is changed in the rewrite, whoever made the original script needs to be consulted, because they will be able to say, whoa, wait a minute, that's going to undo something that I've already established. assuming that they're a good writer. Or you just need a script supervisor, somebody who can say, hey, wait a minute, we're totally going against something we've been doing this whole time. You know, magic running out, and now people can use magic whenever they want and they don't get tired. What's going on? You know, so somebody who can check consistency. That it seemed maybe they had somebody in that job and then they fired them, but forgot to rehire somebody new to come in and do that. I don't know, but someone who made a similar comment though was Simple Tricks and Nonsense. Said that the characters talk constantly, they don't know when to be quiet, and I think that feeds into this comment by who was it? It was Josh
Ritterhoff.
Josh Ritterhoff. That something good will be set up and then immediately ruined, and this is one of those ways. Is that a quiet moment where something is supposed to be happening in the silence, like a buildup of tension, like when Eric's in the Immemorial City, or a moment of deep emotion, and somebody just interjects with a joke or some comment. They're going to express how they feel or something, and it ruins it. It actually ruins the moment.
It's because we have two different moods in this. And the thing is, even if we went with the sillier mood, even if the entire show was done with the sillier mood, it would be an improvement over what we have now because it would be consistent. We would know, like I spoke on a couple episodes back in our review, that it's a farce. It's farcical and it's meant to be that way. I mean, look at Monty Python, right?
Yeah.
Everything Monty Python does, you can't take serious. That's the whole point. They're a comedy troupe. It's funny. You can laugh at the ridiculousness. And this show would be better as if we had one tone, one mood, instead of switching between two writing teams.
Yeah, and you know what? I actually think it is okay to go back and forth with tones and moods, but you can't switch so quickly. And so,
right.
You know, it's jarring is what it is. As you can tell, we're having some lighting issues. We've also had some sound issues. Thirsty Bard, does our sound any better? We tried to fix it. We're working on it. Our cinematographer friend has been sick and unable to help us fix all of this stuff. So, moving on. Go ahead, Randy.
Me?
Yeah.
I did the last one.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. So, let's see. I've only got a couple more. One was from Lewis Hazard, said that this would get less bad... Oh, we already talked about this. This would get less bad press if it wasn't attached to the Willow movie.
Yeah,
I think this draws attention to just the fact that... or this brings up just that if this wasn't a Willow show, it wouldn't have all of the criticism relating to the Willow movie.
It also wouldn't have as many reviews because people wouldn't be as interested in finding out if it was any good. I think that's all I have right now.
I have one. Now, okay. I don't know who said this. I was up late in my bed just checking comments on my phone before I, passed out. And somebody said, you got your wish, or your prediction came true. The show has become a musical because Christian Slater's character, Allagash, broke into song in episode 6.
Right.
So your prediction was right. I don't know who said it. Whoever you are, comment again below, and I'll give you credit for it.
Okay, it's partially correct, because I said episode 8, the last episode, is going to be a full-blown musical. Well, maybe not the whole episode, but some part of it's just going to be full-blown
It'll be
musical.
Like one of those Bollywood movies where at the end they have everybody dancing to a music video. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, right? That's going to be great.
Yeah, that would be funny. Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed the reviews that we've done so far. There's only 2 left. Oh, it's 2. We will get through them somehow. We hope that you'll come along for the ride and comment below. And if we agree with anything that you've said or disagree, we'll bring it up and discuss it.
That's it.
Yep.
Later.
See ya.